Hello, it worked.
Sometimes you never know with technology.
I know. Well, and it seems like the last couple lives that I've done, each time they've like changed it just slightly. So it works, but like the button's in a slightly different place.
Yeah, they can never just leave things alone.
Right? Of course not. That would be silly.
Right. Yep, it would.
Yeah. And for those people joining, welcome. I am going to shut comments off because otherwise I can't see your face because it's covered in comments on my screen. There we go. So we're good. Yay! And I see you've got all of your beautiful yarn.
I do. I have quite the wall of yarn behind me.
It's so pretty.
Mhm.
You have so many pretty colors. That's the one thing that it's like, I get why, we're doing so many virtual shows and everything. I so miss being like in the booth and getting to see all the colors. And like the last time I was in your booth, you had it set up so nicely. I remember you had like the vintage suitcase to display some of the stuff.
I do, actually. I'm going to flip my camera around here. There you go. See, there's one right there.
Nice. Oh, and your beautiful photography too.
I get lucky sometimes.
You do a really good job. My photos never turn out that good from trips. It's kind of like I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of looks like it was that place. I think that's what that photo's of.
Yeah, I'm by no means a professional photographer, but sometimes I get lucky.
You do a really good job. Don't sell yourself short. But yeah, and for anybody that doesn't know, all of your yarn colorways are based on the places you've visited and the photos that you've taken, right?
Correct. So I'm Stephanie with Alainn Yarns. It's pronounced All-In, although it looks like Alainn. All-In is an Irish word. It means beautiful. And so it's a little bit of a play on words too, like you're all into yarn. And so then all of my colorways are actually based off of my travels. I take photos along the way, and then I make the colorways actually match the photos. Get my camera to work here. There we are. So there is a sunset that I caught in Itasca State Park, which is, if you didn't know, where the headwaters of the Mississippi River is. That's where the river actually starts. So I take photos along the way and then I make colorways actually match. I do try to use my own photos or photos from friends just for copyright reasons. And so that's why locations are a little bit limited, just because I don't want to grab some photo off of the internet and make a colorway off of that, because I do want to respect the photographer's rights to those photos.
Which makes sense, because I know a lot of the time there's not a whole lot of things for stuff, but it's, we're in the creative space. We don't want people ripping off of our stuff. And,
right, exactly.
Yep. No, I think that's really fun. Also, I like copyright stuff aside. One of the things that I always kind of think of with yours too is that it must add like that much more of a deeper connection with like what the colors should truly look like, because
it does.
A lot of them you've experienced.
Right. So I can actually I can compare it to my memory as well as the photo, but also too, I can actually tell the story behind the photo and the yarn, and that alone right there kind of helps sell it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I have one colorway based off of the Blarney Castle. I'm going to grab it here.
Mm-hmm. I love that one. Every time I pull open your website, I see that one. I'm like, I need to order that one of these times.
There we go. So this is a picture taken off of, if we can get it to kind of focus. There we go. That is taken from the very top of Blarney Castle, where you actually get to look down, or if you're brave enough, you can kiss the Blarney Stone. You might need a massage or a chiropractic adjustment afterwards because of the way that they have it angled. But it was one of actually my very first colorways that I created, and also one that inspired me to create this from based off of my travels. And so I just loved the flashes of bright green to it.
Yeah.
And I had someone come up and they saw it, they instantly recognized it as Blarney Castle, and it struck some memories for them for, when that lady and her sisters all took a trip to Ireland. And so it brought back memories for them for that. And that part I really love is that personal connection.
Yeah, yeah, I think that that would be so much fun. I haven't gotten to go to Ireland myself. That and the Japan yarns that you have, those are two places that I really want to go someday. And
Definitely put them on your list.
yeah, well, and part of me is kind of like, so if we plan a trip and we go, I have to take the yarn with me so that I can at least knit on socks that are themed after the place, right?
There you go. That would work.
Kind of do a reverse, like these were inspired by the place, like all like kind of meta there, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it's really fun, and that's really cool that other people recognize it right from the photos and
Mm-hmm.
know exactly where it's coming from and everything too, because that's got to be really fun for people when they just kind of walk past your booth and notice it, and like you said, it brings up all the memories and the good times and different things like that.
Well, and then it creates a personal connection between myself and the customer as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and one of the things too that I was kind of thinking as I was working on the sample socks for this month was that even though I haven't gotten to go to Ireland, the yarns that I was working with, since they're
Mm-hmm.
based off of the photo you did of Kylemore Abbey, I can't talk.
Yep. Kylemore Abbey. Yep.
Yes. It kind of was, kind of like armchair traveling a little bit.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's partly also too why I love creating yarn based off of my colorways. Absolutely. Because it is, maybe budget's tight. Like my budget's been kind of tight this past couple of years because I bought a house. So,
That'll do it.
things, right. Things like that, but at the same time too, you're able to take a photo like that that's inspired by an actual place, and you are able to armchair travel to that.
Yeah, well, and it was kind of fun too because sometimes with the way our schedules have been going around here and everything, a lot of times my knitting time is at like midnight when everybody else is finally asleep and I have a little bit of space to think. Mm-hmm. And so I actually just pulled up like a Spotify playlist of like some Celtic type music and everything, and I don't know, it's just fun. But
that's perfect. Yes, let's talk about your socks.
Yeah, so sorry, I did a really bad job introducing this video. Sorry for everybody watching. Stephanie from Alainn Yarns. And she's the dyer for this month's Indie Sock Along. I'm Shayna from yumiyarns.com, and I designed the socks. These are the traveler socks. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said those are fun.
Thank you. I really like them. They're really addictive because I wanted to kind of highlight the mini skein set that you had made, because I loved all the colors, and I thought it would be fun to do the chevron pattern so that you got like the actual movement with the colors with the color changes, rather than trying to do like a fade or something like that, which you very much could have done with the set. I liked the very subtle shifts between the grays and the greens.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I just had so much fun, and it's not showing up very well on the camera, but for anybody that sees the colors in person, one of the grays is more of like a gray, and one of the grays almost has like lilac hints to it. Which,
yep, it actually is an undertone of purple to it. Yep.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. But yeah, it's so pretty, and it's just such a subtle difference between the two that like it made me happy as I was knitting along, because like I said, it's not showing up as well on the camera here, but in person you can see the difference between them. And I really wanted to kind of do the every other gray green just to kind of highlight that difference a little bit more, I guess. And yeah, it's a fun pattern. the pattern's written so you can do it cuff down or toe up.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So that way, and since it's the chevrons, it's completely reversible, so it'll look the same way either way you knit it. So it's a lot easier for people to just jump in with whichever knitting style they're comfortable with. Then it's just a little contrast short row heel, and yeah, it's just, I was really having fun with knitting with your yarn, and and playing with the mini skein sets was really nice. And I love this bright green, which that's why I wanted to do it for the highlights rather than put it into the sock, because I thought it was just such a bright, like, kind of like a blast of fresh air, which I'm going to hold the picture up again so people can see. It's like right along here and kind of in the tops of the trees, you get those really bright hits of green. And I love how when you're looking at the photos to dye from, you really have a good sense of like what key colors are represented in the photo. Because like if it would have been me pulling it, I probably would have tried to force that brown in there somewhere and it wouldn't have worked as well. Even though it's in the photo, that's not like the essence of the photo, if that makes sense.
Well, funny story about that colorway. Let me actually put my photo over here too, so I'm looking. I actually tried to create that on a single skein and tried to pop in the purple and kind of the orange tones that you see kind of up towards the top.
Hold it up, see while you're talking.
It didn't work out. Certain colors wanted to completely overpower others. You didn't get the different shifts of green. And I said, as much as I love this one, and I absolutely have to use this photo. Believe it or not, I did actually take that one. I know it looks like a professional photograph, a professional postcard, but I did take that one myself. I got lucky with it. But yeah, it works out much better as a mini skein set versus all of those colors on one skein.
Yeah, I can see that because there's a lot going on here, And with the mini skeins, like I said, I love how you cut the different kind of the purpley shades with the gray, as well as like the just gray tone. But then also just all the shades of green. And like I said, I'm sure even though there is the kind of rusty orangey tones in the picture, like you did such a good job putting it together in the mini skein set so that it all plays really well together. And I don't know, I just love this one.
So did you use all of the yarn for the mini skein set for both socks, or did you have yarn left over?
Not quite all of it. I did have some left over, enough so that I'm actually using it in the sock class that I'm teaching at North Country right now.
Perfect.
That's been, I can show you my progress. I'm not done with my own homework for this week yet. We're doing a virtual toe-up socks class.
Okay.
And it's not an adult sock. It's a sock to fit my kid. And since it's a beginner class, there's no patterning, but I just did 10-row stripes. And
oh, perfect.
The heel, and yeah, I don't know that it'll have a full leg. I might just do like 1 or 2 stripes and be done, and then go into the cuff. Just because class is Saturday and I'm still finishing the heel. So it may be ankle socks. It'll be fine. But yeah, and so I still had plenty of yarn left over and everything. And that's, I'm trying to remember which size I made for the sample. I think that's the wrong pattern. That will not help me. I believe I made the women's small or women's medium. Okay. I can't remember, or adult small or medium. I can't remember for sure. I do have all the yardage requirements for each size listed in the pattern though. And I believe I broke it down by minis. I might not have. I might just have it as total yardage. I can't remember.
Okay.
I should have had the pattern with me. But yeah, if I did, it's in there. If I didn't, it'll just say total yardage. But and for people wondering, they're 20-gram minis, right? Because they're 90 yards each.
92 yards each. Yep.
There we go. Yep.
So total, you're going to get 400 and let's see, 460 yards for a total set.
Yeah, which is a nice big set. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and yeah,
Well,
like
I
I
mean,
said,
that's equivalent to a full skein of yarn,
yep,
you
yep,
know?
exactly. Which, you know, depending on the mini skein set, sometimes you have that equivalent, sometimes you don't. So it's
True.
always kind of nice to know those totals
Very true.
before you jump into it.
Yes, I'm excited to make my own version of your socks in one of the other colorway sets.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really excited. I've got a photo that one of my test knitters had sent me because I also had your Nabuta minis. I
Hmm.
can't talk, and it's Nabuta, right?
Nabuta, yep.
Nabuta, yeah. Um, and but stuff happened, and it's in progress. Yes, there we go. They're so pretty and fun. And yeah, hers are in progress. I should post. She sent me a progress photo of them, the way they're knitting up with all the colors. I thought that was such a fun colorway because they're all so bright and vibrant and
They are.
just
I
fun.
think for my own personal set, I might do this one, which is called Shipwreck Coral.
Oh, that one's pretty. I don't know if you had that one when I saw you last.
I don't think so. I think I just released this one earlier this year. So this one is based off of the Shipwreck Aquarium. They over at the Duluth Aquarium, they've got certain um, spots that are for particular themes, and so this one was the shipwreck theme. So it's got particular coral to it. It's very particular fish.
Oh,
This one
cool.
might have been a saltwater tank. I can't quite remember.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I loved kind of the coral colors of it. So this one is a little bit harder to see like how it matches the photo. You kind of got to dig a little bit deeper because this one has a lot of colors kind of going on. So I
Right?
kind of had to pick and choose out of that one.
Hmm. I can see where it matches up in places, though. It is really
Hmm.
pretty.
And then I've got this road trip to the Southwest one. That would be a really fun one too because it's all in shades of browns and kind of grays, really kind of pretty neutrals.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
And then a new one that I have that you did not get to see is this one here.
I love that one.
This one
That's
is
another.
called Rise Up from the Mud, which it's perfect name for it. But
Yeah,
that would make really pretty socks.
it would. Oh, that would be gorgeous. That's another one
Do
that every time I go to your website, I see it. I'm like, I need the Lewis yarn.
I could see for this one, I could see the white being the cuff, the heel, and the toe, and
Yeah,
then alternating the pinks and the greens, just so
yeah,
like you did with the greens and the grays. That would be
yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really fun.
And then I've got Field of Sunshine for something a little bit bright and cheerful.
That is cute. That'd be a fun one to do. It looks like sunflowers.
It is. Yep, that's what it's supposed to be off of. Field of
Nice.
Sunflowers. Yep. I didn't get my card printed off in time.
Well, that's just a reason for people to go on your website and take a look and see what the picture looks like, right?
Absolutely. So this one's called Imagine Peace, which was taken up at the International Peace Gardens that straddle the North Dakota and Canadian border.
Oh, cool.
And so it's kind of a very soothing colorway set.
That is
This would,
super pretty.
this would be a really pretty one too.
Hmm.
And then my last Japan inspired one is called Hana no Fun, which means ship of flowers. And so this photo was taken up in Omori, Japan, which is up in the very northern part of Japan. And every fall, they have a chrysanthemum festival where they take mannequins and boats like this and they fill them full of chrysanthemum flowers. And then they, anchor the boat into this moat that's around a castle. And the mannequin has a dress full of chrysanthemum blossoms. And so that one was a really fun one to
Yeah.
create
Oh,
kind of the colors of that one.
That's really fun. I love the story with that one too, and those colors are super pretty.
They are, yeah. So just some good different kind of relaxation kind of ones,
Yeah,
Um, ones that would, I think, work really, really well for your sock pattern.
yeah, I think so too. Well, and that was kind of one of the things that was nice when I was knitting these ones, even though there's a bunch of color changes and stuff.
Hmm.
I posted a video kind of showing how I did the color changes with weaving in ends as I went.
Hmm.
So, like, when my sample was done, the only thing I had to weave in was the toe.
Oh,
Everything else was
perfect.
done. Yeah. Yeah. And so the way that I wrote it, it's pretty easy to use that technique and weave them in as you go. But also, like, the pattern itself is super easy to memorize. It looks like it's more complicated than it is, but it's really just a little chevron pattern with a little bit of garter stitch thrown in at the color changes.
Oh,
And
very nice.
yeah, yeah, it's really easy.
So
Once you do like one or two rows, you got it.
is the chevron lace kind of like a feather and fan pattern?
It's it might be. I don't think it is quite as much. I tend to avoid feather and fan because I don't like it. Like, it's so pretty and I love the way it looks, but like years ago when I was a newer knitter, I was trying to do a knit along that had a lot of feather and fan, and I just got to the point where it's like, nope, I hate this. I'm not doing it ever again.
It gets used a lot.
Yeah, yeah, but I think the concept is still kind of the same because it's just yarn overs here in the middle, and
Yep.
then it's just a central decrease here.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so yeah, not quite as much going on as the feather and fan.
Right.
Just super simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it was a fun, very soothing pattern to work on too because of that, because it is so simple. And so like as you were
Hmm.
holding up some of the colorways, I was like, that would be so much fun to just like relax with some tea, enjoy your sock knitting, have some fun.
We might need to do a sock knit along, I think.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Oh, that'd be fun. Cause yeah, you've definitely got a bunch of colorways. Like I said, that lotus one, every time I open up your website, I'm like, oh, I need to order this. For some of your bigger sets too, that cherry blossom, the Sakura set that you have.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any packaged up, but I have some dyed up. They're just sitting on the drying rack.
Sorry, I will put you on the spot.
That's okay.
Again, people can go to your website and check them out. But yeah, that's
Absolutely.
a 3 skein set, right?
Correct. And it's a full size skein. Yep.
Yeah.
Here, let me pull one that's similar. This is a Glacier Bay Set.
I love
So it's very similar. You're going to get 3 full-size skeins of yarn. Um, this one you get a sparkle skein thrown in. The other ones, the Dreaming of Sakura one that you're talking about, and then the other 2 skeins in this one are just regular non-sparkle, but this one you do get a little bit of sparkle in that one.
fun.
So that one's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one I think you had that trio at North Country a couple
I
years
did.
ago, right? Because
Yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say
2019.
I'm pretty certain I've seen that one in person. It was so pretty. But yeah, yeah, you've got so many fun colors, and I think because you include the photos with it, again, it's that personal connection. Even though it's places that I haven't been for a lot of your yarns and stuff,
Hmm.
I love like kind of the romance idea of like, kind of being part of the place that the yarn was inspired by almost. Like, I don't know. It just
Right.
it's that whole fake traveling again, I guess.
Sometimes I do a well enough job describing the place that you kind of almost feel like you can go there yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And especially, like the last year or two where there hasn't been nearly as
Mhm.
much travel or anything like that. Like I think I went
Right.
a whole year without really leaving Sioux Falls, which is super boring. And so stuff like that where you kind of have like that whole like mental image and like you said, kind of like the romance of being able to travel to these places and
Hmm.
all it costs is the couple skeins of yarn and some time, and
Right.
you get to experience the whole fun of it and everything. Not exactly the same as being there, but you can pretend well enough.
It's actually probably cheaper than the actual trip that would be.
It's true.
I mean, by the time you include airfare and hotels and your food and, of
I was
course,
gonna say the food.
souvenirs.
That's what always gets me when I travel. Like I'm great at finding budget hotels and places to stay and stuff like that, but the food at places is my other thing where like I want to try like everything. I want to eat everything
Right.
local and like really get that whole experience, and which my husband is not a foodie person at all. And so sometimes I'll like try to recreate stuff at home, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but my family still has to eat it because they don't like to cook. So
So they either eat it or starve.
yes, yep. And that's how we've gotten my husband off of fast food, is either you can have this or nothing. So
There you go.
but yeah, no, I just love the whole idea of getting to kind of live vicariously through the yarns. So yeah, so I know you said you've got the house now, which we bought a house a couple years ago, so I feel you on that.
Yep.
It's a lot harder to justify some of those things that before you had a house were just kind of easy to flippantly purchase, and now you're kind of like, but mortgage.
Yeah. Mortgage or, saving for a new roof, things like that.
Yep, all the super fun adult things.
Right.
But even with all of that stuff, I know as things are starting to open up here, do you have any places that are on your radar for where you want to go and get some inspiration from?
Yeah, so last year, had it been a normal year, I was scheduled to go on a cruise up the Italian coastway. So that did not happen. However, my sister had been to Italy, so she let me use some of her photos. So I created a couple of Italian photos just so I could kind of feel like I was there.
Living vicariously again, right?
Right. Yep. So
That
that's
would be a
been,
fun trip, though.
yeah. So that's been rescheduled to next year. So we'll go for that. I've got a cruise to Alaska on the radar. We'll see if it happens. And then I was supposed to go to Scotland a couple years ago too with my mom, but that trip had kind of fell through. We had kind of something come up kind of very last minute for like a week or two right before we were supposed to leave. So had to cancel that trip. But so I'd really like to go back and do that one for sure with, good trip with my mom.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Scotland's another
Yeah.
place that I would love to go to. That would be really pretty, I think.
Yeah, it's up there on the list for sure. So I'm hoping I can make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So with, I know you said it's just kind of on the radar, but with the Alaska cruise one, is the one you're looking at? I know that there's one that kind of leaves, like there's part of the trip is like through Glacier National Park, and then there's an extension that's the cruise or something like that. My mom and dad have been watching one that's like that, and so I was just curious.
Well, the one I came across actually was a knitter's cruise. And so it's going to have, I can't remember the designer's name right now, but she's really big into designing the Shetland shawls, the ones that are Orenburg shawls, the ones that are so thin that you can pull them through a wedding band.
Yes,
I
think I know.
So that's her biggest. Yeah, that's her big focus, and so she's going to be offering classes on the cruise, and then there's supposed to be a muskox farm tour. Give you it. Oh yeah.
It's so much fun.
So, and then of course, then you see Glacier Bay and some of the other stops along the way there. So that one is on the radar, and I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that I can make it to that one. That one happens in May, and it would be like right after I get done with Shepherd's Harvest in Minnesota.
Gotcha.
So it'd be finish with Minutes Shepherd's Harvest, come home, unload, and then I think it's either leave the next day or it's leave a week later, something like that.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, so
And
that's
I
on the
can't
list.
believe I can't remember her name. I'm pretty certain that I know who you're talking about, and I'm pretty certain that I met her at Vogue Knitting in the cities a couple years ago and have her books signed
Oh, okay.
downstairs right now. Oh, and I can't remember her name for the life of me, but I got to talk with her for quite a while, and she is just so super nice, and I would like love to take classes from her, so be sure you take classes if you go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If I don't make the cruise, then she's already on my radar to try to take a class from.
Yeah, also, if it's the same person that I'm thinking of, she was spinning with vicuña fiber.
Mm.
And
Ooh,
I
yeah.
believe she also had Kiviat fiber in her booth. And like she had one of those tiny little baby spindles, and she was spinning like just super thin. I mean, she's into the super thin cobweb shawls and stuff too, but like her spinning was so tiny and so beautiful. And she was just doing it effortlessly. And meanwhile, I'm just like, I can barely get fingering weight. Yeah.
Yeah, my spinning's kind of averaging probably about sport, maybe fingering right now, but
Yeah.
yeah. I
That's,
definitely buy yarn already white or whatever natural color and give it a pretty makeover because if I had to rely on spinning every single one of these skeins, all of these ones that are behind me, I would make no profit.
right.
It would take me until the day I die just to do everything that's even hanging up behind me. So
Yeah, no kidding. Same here. I know I did a couple years ago, I was doing knitting boxes and
mhm.
had one where it was a 3 month theme of hand spun yarns. And two of my spinners were awesome and had amazing hand spun yarn that we featured in the boxes. And the third one dropped out after everything had already gotten going. And so I ended up, I think I had 13 or 14 skeins that I spun for the boxes.
Oh wow.
After that, I was like, there's no way I'm ever spinning hand spun to sell ever, ever, ever. It turned out pretty fun. And initially I was like, maybe I could do this. But by the time I was at like the 10th skein or something, I was like, nope, nope, this is just for me for fun. Not doing
Yep.
this anymore.
That's exactly where I'm at.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I will
That's
be happy to buy fiber from other vendors who dye fiber much better than I can, and I will take my sweet time spinning it.
yep, exactly.
My strength lies in dyeing yarn that's already spun up.
Yep. And my strength is buying it and knitting with it sometimes.
There
And
we go.
sewing.
And designing with
But
it.
but yeah, no, getting back to the yarn that you dye such pretty colors. I love your subtle color palette too. Like I really appreciate when a dyer has like very much like their palette and you can
Mhm.
kind of tell like that their personality kind of shines through with it. And even though like all of your pictures are from all over the place, I feel like pretty much all of your skeins would mix and match really well together.
Mhm.
You know, everything, there's always a few that won't match exactly, but sometimes you need those
Right.
high contrast ones that will still look nice. But it
So
just kind of feels like you've got an
this is
overall.
my color palette over here. This is the green, the blues, some of the purples. Though that's my color palette. So I really actually struggle to dye yellows and reds and oranges. Like I've got some over there. Make my camera work. Figure out which direction it's pointing. There we go. So yeah, I struggle kind of to dye those, but
And I
you
wouldn't have
know,
guessed that because it feels like you kind of have, like I said, it feels like you kind of have an even feel for how you want all the colors. Like, I don't know if I'm describing it right. It's not like a tone, but it's just like an overall feeling that you get when you look at your booth as a whole, you know?
yeah, you're not gonna come into my booth and you're not gonna find neons.
Mhm.
You're not gonna find fluorescents. You're not going to find very many in-your-face rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because that's just personally not what I gravitate to.
Mm-hmm.
I was a massage therapist for 12 years, and other therapists would always say, you will give massages like you like to receive them. And that was definitely true. And it's definitely true in my dyeing too. I dye what I gravitate towards, it's very, I don't really do speckles. I do very subtle speckles.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one that's got a little bit more subtle speckles to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see them just a little bit there.
Yeah.
Not
I like that
quite
one.
so much of in your face speckles.
Yeah.
Um,
And like hearing that you were a massage therapist, it feels very fitting to me because like I
yeah.
guess kind of one of the things with your booth is it feels very relaxing and soothing, and I don't
Oh,
know.
well, thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry I completely overshadowed what you were showing us.
Oh, that's all right. I was just showing off the photo that inspired that colorway, which is called Dance of the Blossoms.
Okay. Oh, that one's super pretty. I like that one.
But yeah, no, I do try to kind of convey that relaxed feel in my booth.
Mm-hmm. You do a good job because that was what was kind of nice. When I did get to be in your booth at North Country a couple years ago, it was just kind of nice being in there and chatting with you and seeing everything because, like you said, is the colorways are just very like kind of chill and soothing, and then combined with all the beautiful photos of all the places and everything, it's just you create a nice atmosphere in your space.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And it kind of comes through on the website too, because that was the other thing I wanted to mention. If people haven't seen on your Instagram or anything, I love the photos that you have, how you have the picture of the yarn and then like the little bubble off to the side with the photo that it was themed from, or vice versa. I can't remember. Basically, with
Yeah,
the bubble off to the side. I love that little layout that you do for each of those because I don't know, it makes it so pretty and just it makes me happy.
my web designer created that kind of layout for me, and then she created a template so that way I can update my own photos, because to pay her to do all of the photos, I'd be broke. Because sometimes I might update 10 colorways in a month or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
to do all of that would be very time consuming and very expensive. So she created a template for me to be able to do that. And I've had my website now for 6 or 7 years. And so I've really tried to keep up with that. So that way it was cohesive all the way through and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does work. There
Nice.
are certain times where that little bubble does not quite show all of the yarn color, so then you do kind of have to click on the full yarn skein.
Mm-hmm.
The variegated ones, for sure, you're only getting a little blip,
Yep.
whereas if you click on the full skein of photo, you'll see it all.
Yep.
And for those who need my website, here it is right there. So you can make sure you spell it correctly. That's a great one. Feel free to browse around the website and get to know all the different colors. Also, too, if you have any other questions, or if you want some custom dye work done, I actually do that as well. So you can always send me a message and I can have that done.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn comments on for just a second in case people do have questions that are watching.
Sounds good.
That way we can kind of see. I've never done this before where I've turned them on and then off and then.
That's okay. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, right.
Maybe between the two of us, we can kind of start seeing questions if there are any.
Yeah. Let's see. And I'm not seeing questions. Oh yeah, you probably have comments on yours, right?
I do, yep.
Okay, I'm going to do this then so I can see you. Since you're the one with the yarn, I don't want to cover you up.
Well, I think it turned, because you just turned yours off and it turned them off completely. So.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Because I think because you're the host, it turned them all off.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them out real fast and we'll do a quick question and answer.
Yeah.
For anyone that's curious, I carry 2 lace weight yarn bases. I carry 17 fingering weight bases. I have 2 now sport weight bases. I've got one that I haven't dyed up. I just got it in. And then 3 DK weight bases and 2 worsted weight bases. Lots of bases to choose from.
Yeah.
I do carry a variety of different fiber as well. It's not all just merino. I do have some that is, merino with nylon, perfect for socks. Got some that is alpaca, 100% alpaca. I've got a little bit of Polworth, alpaca and silk, yak and silk, yak with merino. So a good variety of different options.
Yeah. Sounds like it. And I know, I'm trying to think, there was one of the super soft bases that was in your booth at North Country last time that I almost grabbed. And whichever one that was, it was so soft. So if anybody's curious, the really fun bases like that are super, super soft that she has.
I see Andy just posted. She says she's had custom colors dyed and it's really awesome. And Stephanie is great to work with. Thank you so much, Andy.
Yeah.
That Glacier Bay photo that I actually posted. Here, I'll flip it around one more time. Sorry for the crinkling. That one, Andy herself took, or one of her friends took. They went on a girls' trip to Alaska, and she
Cool.
had me create this set actually for her. And then I liked it so well the way that it turned out. I asked if I could keep that colorway and make it public, available for everyone else to sell. And then she gave me permission to use the photo. So that was really awesome.
That is really cool. That's a fun story too.
Yeah, so she could tell a little bit more about, the actual Glacier Bay and everything else. But I was really thankful that she let me use that photo and then let me keep the custom set that I created for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, that's really cool. What a good vacation memory too,
Right, and you actually get to create souvenir yarn.
Yeah,
Your own souvenir.
exactly. So is that something that you do just kind of per request or super frequently, or
definitely per request. It is a little bit time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of emailing back and forth. What base do you want? What fiber do you want? You send me the photo, and of course what I see is going to be a little bit different than what you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
So that always is a tricky part too. So then I'll do a test batch. Okay, is this blue what you're thinking? Do we need to go to a darker blue? Do we need to go lighter? Are you seeing tan in this photo where I'm not? Things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or what you're going to focus on versus what I'm going to focus on. So there's a lot of back and forth, but those that do decide to submit their own photo for me to create, so far everyone's been happy, so that's good.
Nice.
So I do offer it kind of just as a little side bit. The only downfall is if I'm in the middle of festival season, you will have a longer wait time. But I give you because my focus is festivals stock. But I, in that conversation of when we very first start going back and forth and discussing the project, I am upfront and say, yep, I'm in the middle of festival season, but I could start on it maybe November 1st or, whatever my turnaround time may be.
Nice. That is really fun because I know that that's not something that's super frequently offered. So that's really exciting,
right.
Because like you said, what a great way to kind of have some souvenir yarn from your trip and almost kind of extend it out a little bit because, like we were saying earlier, you probably are going to be sitting there working on your project, thinking about all the good memories and everything. Yeah, that's so much fun.
Yeah, and then another bit with the custom that I do. So most of my colorways, I don't have all of them available on every single base because I don't have the storage space for it. And
That's
so
fair.
oftentimes, so oftentimes I'll pick a color and a certain base in mind. Okay. So this is my Country Barn colorway. It is on a tweed base because here's that photo. I
Ooh.
wanted the tweed flecks to kind of reflect the fading paint and
Hmm.
chipping paint of the barn. And so oftentimes I will keep the actual bases themselves in mind for whatever colorway I'm creating.
Hmm.
So I may not have every colorway available. I will not have every colorway available on every base. Yeah, I just don't have the storage room for it. I don't have the time for it. However, in that custom dyeing,
Hmm.
if you do see a colorway on my website, you can always send me a message, and maybe on my website it's listed for fingering weight, but you would really like it on DK weight.
Hmm.
So I'm able to do custom dyeing on in that sense as well.
Oh.
There are a couple of colorways, particularly anything that is on my yak silk nomadic luxe base,
Hmm.
which is 50% yak, 50% silk. Any of the colorways that are on that are not able to go to other bases. That base starts out really dark, kind of a dark brown.
Hmm.
And then to take those jewel tones that I have dyed on that base and put them on a yarn that starts white, oh, it is a completely different color than what you're going to get on that yak
Yep.
silk base. The yak silk base takes those jewel tones perfectly and it
Hmm.
creates those rich, deep jewel tones.
Yeah.
But yeah, to take something like my Bronze Age colorway, which is a really popular colorway, and put that on a yarn that starts white,
Hmm.
it is almost like a flame color instead. So you get bronze on the yak silk, and then you get like fiery flame on white. So yeah, so those ones are the only ones that are not able to transfer to other colorways or to other bases, but a majority of my other colorways are able to turn to different bases.
Okay, that makes sense with that because I know I've seen some other dyers that will do the same colorway on their yak base and a white base,
Right.
and sometimes some sometimes it looks good, and sometimes it's kind of interesting because I've seen there's one dyer that they had been doing some neon colors,
Mm-hmm.
and when they did it on the white base, I mean it was neon yarn,
Right.
and they did it on the yak base, and it almost looked like they took like a highlighter marker to the yarn, which was kind of cool and unique. But if you're, going for not highlighter on the yarn look,
Right.
I can imagine that it wouldn't translate as well because yeah, and especially like if people are looking at the yak base not realizing that it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be so completely different on a white colored base, they're gonna get it in the mail and be like, this is not what I ordered.
Right. So back to the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age on the yak silk, which it's in a container right now, so I can't show it off. But when it's on a white base, it comes out very close to this orange here,
Oh my goodness. So
mixed
yeah,
with bright
a little
yellow.
different.
Yeah, just a little bit. Let me grab that Bronze Age actually,
Oh
since
sure.
I'm talking about it.
Well, and while you're grabbing that, it looks like Cindy Rice had a question. She's wondering when your new colors of yak silk will be on the website.
She's a stalker of mine. She always gets all the yak silk colorways. I think she actually has every single one. Cindy, soon-ish. I ran into a problem with this current batch of yarn that I have. It was not wanting to take the dye all the way through. So it's almost like maybe the batch didn't have like a detergent completely rinsed out from the mill. So I'm back to the drawing board, but soon. Give me a couple weeks and then I'll have
Oh,
it.
that's got to be frustrating though.
So this is the Bronze Age.
So pretty.
Here, actually, let me flip the camera around. I think you'll get the lighting. There we go. Yes, lighting is
Oh,
much
that's
better that way.
beautiful. And Cindy says she does have them all. Here, keep it up for just a second. I'm going to switch comments off just to get a good shot there.
There we go.
Oh, it's so pretty. It really does just look like all shades of bronze and copper. And
It does, yep.
so pretty.
But like I said, when you put it on white yarn, it comes out like this bright orange here mixed with like a yellow from the sunflower set. It's crazy.
More like Fire Age than Bronze Age.
Right.
Oh, that's fun. I'm going to quick turn comments back on here and we'll see. Cindy does have them all, she said.
Yep.
Oh, that's fun. No, I love yak silk bases. So I'm going to have to get some of that Bronze Age one. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's fun to work with for sure.
Yeah, well, and it's such a great one for shawls because it just drapes so beautifully.
It does.
And, like, kind of had an idea for like kind of like a either cap sleeve or sleeveless top too, with just like some very slight detailing to it, just something pretty basic, but something that like you could wear a tank top underneath it and have kind of really show off the sheen and the drape with those yak yarns, like the yak silk yarns.
Yeah, that would be really pretty.
Yeah.
I'm actually using the Bronze Age in a sweater yoke that I have right now. Ooh. That I'm working on.
Nice. And that's another good idea too, for anybody that, you know, I know the yak silk blends can be slightly more expensive than the normal skeins, and for anybody that's kind of nervous about that, doing something like that where you just use it as like the accent in a yoke of a sweater or something, it's a really good idea.
I did it's in the other room, but I did the Garden Gate sweater by Jennifer Steinglass, and so I used a really pretty green from Miss Babs for the base, for the body of the sweater, and then I used the Bronze Age as the yoke, and that bronze up against the green just looks absolutely stunning. I bet the one I'm working on right now actually is the Bronze Age with my Sume color, which is kind of a charcoal.
I bet that's really cool too. Ooh.
Yeah. And that one I'm actually designing myself. I have no desire whatsoever to grade it and publish it for multiple sizes. But it's going to be a Celtic, it's a Celtic horse design in the yoke. And so that one's just going to be for me.
That is really cool. I know I have so many ideas for different sweaters and things that I want to do, but I keep just publishing accessories and socks because I've done a couple sweaters and it about made my brain explode trying to do the grading.
Right.
Because I'm not a math person. Like I can figure out like the basic stuff that I need for the one size that I'm doing, and then I can make spreadsheets for things and kind of go from there. But like sweaters especially, like, because you can't, it's not like how like with socks generally, you know, you've got where you go up a couple inches, so you extend the pieces a couple inches, or you add a few stitches to increase the circumference. With sweaters, you know, you have to take into account that, like, as the sizes go up or down, the armhole changes up or down, and how it's going to sit on the neckline is going to adjust slightly too, because, you know, everybody's different shaped, and you'd hate for somebody to go through all the work of making a sweater only to try it on and have it be horrible. You know?
Right. Actually, I had a friend, she knit a Kate Davies sweater, was really loving it, got almost all the way done. She was getting ready to attach the sleeves. And she's larger breasted, which I am as well. And so it does bring its own complications. Had she followed this design, you know, to the letter, I mean, the armpit holes were almost to her waist. It was crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then the length that she wanted, the pattern, you know, for your sleeves, I mean, it was almost like monkey arms.
Oh man.
So it was kind of weird. I don't know if it was just that particular design that maybe needed to be regraded, or maybe my friend was reading it wrong. That's completely a possibility too. We never know.
Yeah. Well, and I know too that there's some designers, not, I'm not saying anything against Kate Davies because I've actually
Oh,
gotten a
right.
sweater of hers on the needles.
Yep.
But
I like a lot of her designs
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
It's just,
But
I think,
no, sometimes it's it's easy to just kind of get into the groove of like, I'm doing all these sizes and we're good, and just kind of
right,
look at it as a math equation, um,
right,
and forget that, as you adjust for different shapes and sizes, so like, a larger breast, you are going to need a bit of an adjustment compared to somebody that's a bit more flat, you
correct. Yep.
know? And
Yeah,
so
and
maybe,
then also, I mean, if you adjust for a larger chest, you do kind of have to go back and subtract for
yeah,
the arms,
yeah,
because otherwise you might end up having like, big old flappy arms kind of
yeah,
going on. And so yeah, sweater grading is a whole other ball game that I have no desire to get into.
that's fair.
And then you throw in gauge at the whole other bit, so that, okay, hey, maybe you were on a roll for the body, but then the sleeves come around and it's been 3 months since you worked on it,
Yep.
and maybe all of a sudden things have
Yep.
kind of changed a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I actually have quite a few sweaters that are on the needles that, like, I'm at Arm Island or Sleeve Island or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. And I've been there for forever because my gauge changes so much when I go from the body to the sleeves. And I always
Right.
forget that. And so I go to knit the sleeves and I'm like chugging along and I'm like halfway through the sleeves and I go to hold it up to the sweater. I'm like, these are two completely different things.
Right.
This does not match this at all.
Yeah. Or just, whatever is going on in your life at the time period
Yeah.
too.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So sweaters are fun, right? But yeah, maybe someday I'll do more sweater patterns. I have ones in mind that I want to do, but that's it's that whole grading thing. Maybe I'll
Right.
spit those ideas to publications or something instead of me trying to figure my way through it. but but yeah, no, yours sounds really pretty. So it's the Bronze Age and the I can't remember the name of the gray yarn that you said.
It is Sume. I'm trying to see if I've got
Yeah.
one close by. Uh, I don't. So it's a charcoal color.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering, I figured it probably had to be a charcoal with that Bronze Age. I bet they're so pretty together. And you said it's like a Celtic horse.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
So it's a Celtic horse head, and it's going to repeat 6 times around. So it's one horse, and then the horse is mirrored on the other side, so it's almost like the noses touch.
oh.
And yeah, so that will be really pretty when I get that
Mm.
done. I started it in February, and then decided to take a break from it. So it's been kind of sitting in the bag for a little while.
Oh, that sounds fun though. Are you gonna post pictures on Instagram so we can see it? Because I really want to see
Sure.
it growing up.
I will post a picture later tonight.
Yay! Oh, that'll be fun. That's exciting. Because yeah, that sounds like a really fun pattern, and I don't blame you at all for not wanting to grade it. But that sounds like an excellent self project.
Right. Yep.
Nice. Well, and it looks like we don't have any more questions right now, so I'm going to turn those off. Did you have anything else that you wanted to let folks know about? Do you have
Um,
any events coming up or anything?
well, I'm going to be at the Minnesota Fiber Festival in Cambridge, Minnesota on October 16th. So that will be a spot to get my yarns in person.
Yeah.
And then the last festival that I'm doing of the year is the Fall Fiber Festival in Hopkins, Minnesota. That is November 6th. And so that will be the last one of the year. But I am also actually having a yarn sale this weekend. If anyone really, if they need something,
Yeah.
you can use the code fall is here, all one word.
Gonna,
Doesn't matter if it's lowercase or uppercase. I don't think it does. But fall is here. That will go until Sunday evening, 11:59 Central Time on Sunday, and it will save you 15% off the entire site, and that does include anything in the closeout section that's already on sale.
Nice.
So
That's super
that,
exciting.
yeah.
And
So anyone,
after we're done on here, would you mind shooting that to me in a DM? And do you
sure,
care if I share that with people in the
yeah,
newsletter?
absolutely.
Yay! That's so exciting. Because, yeah, so it's fall is here, all
Correct.
lowercase. Okay.
All
15.
lowercase, all one word.
Nice.
And
Oh,
I'll
that's
say
so much
15%.
good deal. Oh, that's fun. Maybe I will have to log in and get
You'll have to get your
my
Lotus set.
yarn. Some yak. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Well, I know you showed your card earlier,
Yep,
so it's alainnYarns.com and yarns with an S. Make sure you
correct.
get the
Yep,
S.
double ins.
Hmm.
So
And
screenshot that if you need to.
yeah, good call. And obviously, you're on Instagram. Are you on Facebook? And
I am. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. That's it for social media, because otherwise it's just too much to keep track of.
I was gonna say I'm on Facebook. I hate Facebook though, so everything that's there is like auto posted from Instagram. So I'm with you on like that's enough.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
So
So Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram, website, and we've got a couple events coming up, which is super exciting.
correct. In-person events.
Yeah. And if you guys can, if you're close, go visit her booth. It's really fun. And like I said, it's just like you walk in and it's just a fun shopping experience because it's like soothing colors and Stephanie's very sweet in person, just like you guys have seen here. And it's just fun getting to go through and see all the pictures and the yarn, and it's just a really fun experience going through her booth.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. You do such a good job with it. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and thank you for contributing yarn for the Indie Sock Along. I'm so excited I got to design with it, and hopefully we can do some more design work together in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much and have a good night.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.